So, well,
Yeah.
guys, we'll get us started. This is Tour Carnival's public policy, where we talk about how to bag your groceries appropriately, among other things. But no, we're just joking around here a little bit, as we like to do before the show starts. But we talk about Collierville, Tennessee, outside of Memphis, Tennessee. And we go through the inner workings of the town as it's growing. It's growing in population, it's growing in retail, growing commercial, industrial. And there's a lot of things that come along with that growth. And Carterville is starting to experience some of those things firsthand. And so being able to handle that growth, have that growth be appropriate, timely, along a plan, and at the same time maintain this sense of community that Carterville has had for a very long time, that really makes Carterville is not easy. And I think we're seeing some of that today. And so we talk about that on this show so that we're able to bring the correct information, because one of the biggest things that we see out there, that I see out there, that is a threat to this growth in this community, is misinformation and bad information. And so we want to come here on Thursdays, every other Thursday. We want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. We do that. We bring the vice mayor with us and the town economic development director. Who best to talk about things about growth and maintaining community than people that are in the community? And we just want to, again, bring the real information, because there's so much misinformation. And if we continue down that path, then it is more of a challenge for the community to break down. So we're here to do that. We talk about things that are coming. We talk about things that are happening with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. And we talk about current events. So welcome to Tour Carnival's public policy. We've been off for a couple of weeks, and glad to be back. How are you doing, Maureen? Ladies first.
Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you. It's hard to believe it's July and almost the end of July already. They're starting, teachers and administrators, I believe, were already back to school this week.
Oh, gosh, really?
Vice principals. There's discussion about the back to school event at the high school education foundation with the mini grants. And so it's like, it's hard when you don't have children in school anymore. But now it just seems like it goes that much faster, because I think they all just got out of school. Now it's back to school. We have tax-free shopping days coming up, and yeah,
it's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, I don't think about it either. My daughter's getting ready to go off to college, and so the high school stuff is
that's right.
So it's I don't think about that, but it is crazy. This July. I mean, it seems like it was the first of the year, like yesterday. I mean, time just keeps going by. But I mean, you walk outside and it's July, no doubt. I mean, it's getting hot. But it's definitely July. You're reminded then, but the time keeps going by. I'm ready for it to move on by. I mean, if we could just skip like July,
October,
September, just go to October, I'd be good. But how you doing, John?
I'm great. You're right. It is July, because I went to the farmers market this morning at Carville United Methodist Church, and after I was there, before I came in the office, I had to go home and change my shirt.
Yeah,
because I was like sweating up a storm out there. I didn't want to show up to work all sweaty. But yeah, it's July, folks. And I played golf a couple of weeks ago. I had to quit after 13 holes because I was falling out. Everybody's like, you need to hydrate. I was sucking down more stuff. So it's rough time of year to be in Memphis.
Yeah, it's like, when I work out or when I exercise or when I play a sport, I understand that I'm going to sweat, but involuntary sweat, you're sweating for no reason. I didn't elect to sweat here. I just walked out to my car. I mean, it's like, man, yeah, I know.
Involuntary sweating. I like that term.
It's
that somehow.
It's something you try to avoid at all costs. I mean, it's just like, if the sweating should be voluntary, I think.
Exactly.
And so, I don't.
So there are times I'd love to sweat. I'm happy to sweat. When I walk, I wear two shirts, and how I judge the quality of my walk is how wet my undershirt is. I'm like, hey, how many miles did you go? I'm like, hey, I'm sweating.
Right.
That's
sweating.
That's key.
Yeah,
Voluntary sweating.
Well, see, now, John, you just have to go out on the driveway and you have double sweat. You don't even have to walk.
I gotta walk.
You just take the trash out and you lose 8 pounds. I mean, it's
we've had such a wet summer. I don't remember having all of these storms so much and power outages and wow.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day, or Shannon was reading something. She told me that it said, like, we just went through the hottest month on record, and this will be the coldest summer we ever experience moving forward.
Wow, that sounds like a SAT question. Say that again.
We just went through the hottest month on record.
Yes.
And it will be the coldest summer that we ever experienced from here on out.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
is what she read,
Huh.
who knows the weather to predict it, but it's getting hotter is the point.
Yes.
And I think it's going to get colder too in some areas in there. So, but it's just part of what we've got to deal with, so.
Well, and I usually volunteer at the FedEx St. Jude golf tournament as a standard bearer, where I will walk 18 holes 2 or 3 times with the sign. And last year it knocked me out, man. And this year I'm taking a year off. I told the guys, let me sort of sit out a year. But when you get to be my age and it's 107 heat index and you're walking 18 holes and standing in the sun carrying a sign, that's for a young man. That's a younger man's activity versus a 64-year-old guy.
I tell you what, man, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if some of these things and these temperatures get that you wouldn't see the pros in cars at some point, because it's just going to be, you're not going to be able to do it. You're not going to be able to walk it. But let's go. We'll find out what this link means from John in a minute. But let's go to Maureen. We've got a few minutes, but let's go to Maureen and get some BMA updates. What's happening? I know there's been a few things going on and people talking back and forth and things that are happening, but what's passed, what's happened, what's going on, Maureen?
Well, we haven't met in a while, but our budget did pass effective the 1st of July. So here we are, July 20th. So we're 20 days into the new budget. We've discussed and voted on the streets to be repaved for the upcoming fall and spring. And then after that, as long as money is permitting. So a lot of the projects are hard at work. We voted to approve and are spending funds to redo the synthetic turf at W.C. Johnson Park, as well as the soccer fields at Cox Park, Powell Road Park. Some people call it different things.
Right.
So that's going to be going on this fall. We're waiting for bids any day now for the pickleball courts that will be put in at Suggs Park. So there's a lot of capital improvement funds that are being spent and allocated with the new budget year. We funded several drainage projects. You might have seen that on social media and on the town website. Burroughs Road, there's always opportunities for drainage improvements. One down off of kind of Mill Street to the west, which is downtown drainage project number 455. There's a lot. And then there's more to come there, working its way to the east.
Well, Marie, how does that work? I mean, are the drainage projects like the road improvement projects? Why that one and not this one? Because it was a great post somewhere about the Burroughs Road and it was good work. And it was well received, yet people responded like, well, what about this street? What about my neighborhood? Same parallel with the streets. Why that street and not this street? How does all that line up?
Our engineering department with Dale Perryman and his team, they kind of prioritize, but a lot of times you have to do them in sequence because the way the water flows. So if somebody that lives east of Burroughs, this may, and every project, it looks at how many people it will impact. So if we make this improvement, what will it do? None of us like water inside anybody's home. So that's always a priority. If they're getting water inside their house and it's something the town can fix, we try to fix it. If we have a situation now with a resident that when, water flows downhill, when you purchase a home at the bottom of a hill, that's where the water is going to go. And there is a collector for the neighborhood further beyond in their yard. So when we have these, what they call them 100-year storm events that are supposed to happen once every 100 years, that unfortunately the way it's been this spring and this summer, we've had them more frequently. Then there's a deluge of water that gets into their backyard. Now, it doesn't get into their house as far as we know. It's not gotten in their house yet, but it fills the pool, it fills the backyard, and the water, it just takes a while. When it stops raining, then the water will go where it's supposed to go. So there's a system to the different laterals that we have. There's all these little different laterals. We're starting so it all has to be done in phases. So hopefully the Burroughs project will fix what's going on Burroughs Road, and it may address some of the things further to the east. But the area over on North Main is also in a study where we've hired an engineer to look at the way the water flows and which way it's going. There's some new construction there, so it may need a detention basin. It may need a larger pipe. There's a whole lot of engineering that goes into it. So we do collect from our residents and our businesses a stormwater fee. that was put into place maybe, and I'm horrible with dates, maybe 5 to 8 years ago. And we use that money every year for drainage projects. A lot of times it's not enough, so we have to supplement that with other funds, but we're collecting money to try to take care of the rainwater and the water and the drainage. And some of it is the responsibility of the homeowners, but some of it, if the town can do a study and if it has an impact, as an example, and this is one that you have the big, some people call it the $1 million hole. It's at White Road and Queen Oaks, the Queen Oaks Ditch Project. For people that don't remember, south of White Road, a lot of those homes were considered in a FEMA flood zone. There was a lot of issues with water getting into homes. So the town looked at different options, and the most financial responsible option and that we could do would be we purchased a home that was in the middle of what is the detention pond now, the basin, and made that a detention pond. So by doing that, FEMA came in and reclassified, looked at all the maps, the flood maps, as some people call it, and all of those people that were south of White Road and several people that are north along that basin were removed from the flood maps, so they are no longer required to pay for flood insurance. So that was a huge project. It was a big project, but it had a very large impact on a large number of residents in Collierville.
So did you ever think, like, you got like hospitality background, real estate background, and then all of a sudden now you're like a drainage expert? I mean, this is...
T, some days I wake up and I'm like, what in the world am I doing? How did I get into this? And fortunately, we have the experts that are our staff. And, we're the policymakers, as Molly Maynor, our town administrator, spoke at Rotary. We're the policymakers. And we help make the decisions on the policy. So we really rely on our department heads and our staff to bring us these ideas with the solutions, and trust them in their expertise, because they're the experts. They're the ones that have the stamps and the engineers and all of.
Sure.
Just like Mr. Duncan's an expert on economic development. We all think we're experts in economic development, but some of us are trained more than others, and that's definitely John Duncan. So no, Keith, I never thought I would be dealing with stormwater, drainage, engineering, wastewater treatment. That's another one,
That's interesting. I think at the next debates, alderman debates, I'm going to ask about drainage and who knows about all the intricacies as a question. I mean, it's just amazing to me, like how much, and that these are like you are citizens that go out and want to get engaged, but don't really realize how much is involved in all of that and dealing with all that. And then also, there's that side of understanding the technical pieces of it so that you can know whether your department head, you can make decisions based off of what your department heads are telling you and those type of things. And then there's also, the side of it from board of mayor and aldermen that deals with tragedy as well, like we've seen in Collierville, and that's tough too. So it's just it's an interesting thing. I don't know why you would do it. I would never do it. I don't, but I appreciate that you do, and that everybody does. But it's interesting. It just occurred to me as you're speaking through all these technical things. I'm like, Maureen's an expert on, drainage and wastewater. But I didn't mean to cut you off, John. Were you about to throw something out there?
No, you said it well. I will say to Maureen, though, I went to a taxes in retirement seminar the other night. And as I was leaving, trying to go home and get in my car, this guy goes, aren't you with the town? I go, yeah. He goes, aren't you the economic development guy? I go, yes, I am. John Duncan. He goes, oh, yeah. And then that led to a 15-minute discussion about what's wrong with Collierville. And the whole time he was talking, I was, yeah, I hear you, but then finally I just was like, and I said to myself, I don't know how people like Stan and Maureen do it, because you're getting hit all the time. Like Keith just said, thank you for your service and your patience and what you do and your expertise, because it can be challenging, right?
Well, and there'll be an election next year. We have elections every 2 years, and you have people that want to get involved, but are they really wanting to get involved for the right reasons? And do they really realize what's involved in this position? Some people ask me, is it full time? It can be as full time as you want it to be. Yeah. It really can. I mean, some days it's a lot, some days it's not a lot. And every day is a little bit different as to what you deal with as an alderman. I know the mayor's job is a lot different than, in my opinion. I'm sure he has a lot more meetings that he's required to go to or goes to. But, just yesterday I had a phone call from a citizen who was not happy with the town and the direction of the town.
No, you're kidding.
And no, but fortunately she called. It wasn't like a social media post where she's, blasting.
Right. That's good. Yeah.
I saw a note this
I wasn't
morning.
picking on a specific one. I'm just saying that
Right. No, I mean, and that's good. We do have the Mayor's Action Center that you can make comments, positive, negative, concerns. So some residents go to that. Others just want to call their alderman, which that's fine. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Then, I had two different people that had emailed and wanted to set up an appointment to meet with me about different things. And then this morning, someone I just saw, they tagged me on a post about with the power outages, one of the lights was flashing yellow and people didn't know how to proceed through the yellow, but all of a sudden it was yellow and this person started to go and then the light changed the other way. And so it happened really fast and she found herself in the middle of the intersection and people were coming at her on the green. And someone else said, this really needs to be looked at by the town. And so then I was tagged on that. So that's something I will follow up when we're finished this afternoon.
Yeah. So it's just stuff all the time, right? The point is that it's stuff all the time and you enjoy doing it, and then like John said, we appreciate you doing it, but it's interesting that all of the different things that you learn about and all that. So we got roads, we got tax increases, we've got some drainage stuff. Anything else happening from BMA?
Not at this point. The rest of it is pretty much, more fun with the concert series going on with the Main Street Concert Series, which there'll be a concert tonight. And this is actually the band is called Southbound. Mm-hmm. And this is the band that will be performing in September for the Taste of the Town event. So
there, my daughter's going to that because I guess the vocalist, one of the vocalists in the band, also leads some of the music ministry at a local church here as well. So he's on staff. He goes to their camp stuff. So I think he's got a lot of church people or from the congregation are coming out to support him tonight and that type of stuff. So local guy in this Southbound, local guy, good for the community, playing in front of everybody on the square. I love it when that happens. I mean, I like to bring people in too because we want talent to come in. But when we've got these local bands that are really out there that are doing this stuff, it's cool. It's fun. So yeah, go out and support tonight, particularly. I think local band and some good guys there.
Yeah, and we had a wonderful Independence Day celebration. We were able to get ours off on the 3rd. Unfortunately, rain hit on the 4th, so some of our neighbors were not able to have their celebration. But that was, according to Ashley Carver and the numbers I'm hearing from our Placer ID software, that there were over 17,000 people is the number I heard, like within Cox Park. That did not take into account, as far as I know, the neighborhoods, the streets, the sidewalks, everybody that were around Cox Park. So it was a great night. A breeze came through. At one point, we were thinking we would need to set them off a little early, but unfortunately for Germantown, the rain didn't come to Carville. It stayed in Germantown longer than for their stormwater situation. And so they got rained on really hard, and we were celebrating out here in Carville. So anyway, so that happened. It was a lot of fun.
I heard it was a big success, and that's a big deal. You talk about sense of community, and just to drill down on that a little bit, these are things that are in the budget. This particular event that the town provides to allow the community to all come together, kind of in a certain part of town that everybody knows, and a lot of people can come to. You can see this from your house. Big deal, big event on 4th of July. And this is not the only thing, but this is one of the things. You have like the concert series, of course, that's put on by a nonprofit, in town. But this is actually the town paying for this and paying for people to come together, trying to foster that sense of community and celebration. So that's one of the things that I think it's good. It's good for the town, and the town trying to do that as you grow, but to keep this sense of community that is struggling, I think, a little bit. So the more that we can do that, and then it struggles when things happen and you have to skip the event. It was like 2 years in a row, maybe it had to be skipped, right? Those things, you see the effects, you see the ripples of that throughout the community. So I love it that the town does that. I'm glad that that we're able to do that. It's a minimal cost to all the taxpayers when you put it, when you spread it out like that. But it's a big deal for the town to do it. So that's a cool event, and I like the 4th of July thing. So
it's fun. It builds a lot of camaraderie, and everyone that is there is happy. That's what I like to see. Everybody's happy. They forget their, all the troubles in the world for however many hours they are there, and most
Right.
everyone is happy to be there and celebrating. And it was a great night.
Well, Ashley Carver, who's our tourism director, had a QR code there that night that people could comment, and there's a little survey, and they could get some feedback. And the feedback was really positive and supportive. One of the interesting comments, though, there were a couple of comments that people were disappointed that they didn't play Lee Greenwood's "I'm Proud to Be an American," and it's always interesting. And we were laughing that we think we know who sent that advice to us, but it's good that the community's there, like you said, and that they can comment and contribute to the product going forward. So it was, you're right. It was a great night. And that Placer software, Ashley's got some new data about the square and who comes to the square and where they come from and how much money they spend. And it's very interesting how far people travel to get to Collierville to enjoy our assets, to include the town square.
Yeah, Collierville's on the map these days, that's for sure. So I want to go to John and talk about economic development, find out what this link is, take a quick break, and see if I can get this to show. Oh, there we go. So want to talk about, just say thanks to one of our sponsors, our sponsor for the show today. And these guys have a new branch in town. It's over by Home Depot, and are sponsoring the show, sponsor a lot of things in the community, but are doing a lot of exciting things as well. And some local guys here starting this. We've talked about it in the previous 2 episodes. So just want to take a minute and say thanks. It's the sponsors like this that are really committed to the community, committed to supporting Collierville and all the local initiatives that are going on that allow us to do shows like this, because behind the scenes there are some costs, and these guys help us to bear those. So appreciate that. Have you guys been over to check them out yet?
I have not yet. I know they're having a ribbon cutting and open house next week, Wednesday, I want to say. Let me check my calendar and see.
It's like an all day.
10 to 4.
Yeah,
Anybody
exactly.
can stop in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
That's Wednesday oh wait. Oh,
I don't have that date right in front of me. I probably should have.
26th, July 26th, next week, Wednesday.
Yep.
Starting at 10 a.m.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can kind of come and go and check it out, but I encourage everybody to do that and support those that support us. You see people that are supporting the show and supporting the community. And we went through a list, I think, last week of all the things that these guys are doing to support in the town. So, show some support in return. Check these guys out. They've got some really good offers going on too. So, okay.
Keith, you're right. And I love it when I see people like this bank, First Bank, investing in our community, and then what they built there is gorgeous. I pass by there every day going to work, and the landscaping looks great. The building's nice, so it's a really upgrade, high level addition to the landscape of the community. So yeah, thanks to them, not only for doing what they're doing, but also for sponsoring the show as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Helps us to keep moving. So yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
So tell us about Link, John. What's John Link Duncan today?
I couldn't find my link to the show this morning, so I was all in a frazzle trying to find that. So I found it.
Oh, so it's not about Maureen and I thought it was about the golf tournament coming in. They're talking about all the economic benefit to
no,
that
it's
event.
actually about the new tenant for the vacated O'Charlie's is a Sausage Link restaurant. That's all I can get. Sausage Links. No, it's all about the link to the show.
As long as it's not pizza or chicken, I think our citizens will be happy.
Well, there was a kind of a fun rumor flying around this morning that the new tenant, because there's an article in the MBJ about the fact that a new tenant was moving in there, and the little joke running around between the real estate guys and me was it was going to be a product called the Juicy Crab. I'm like, the Juicy Crab? What is that? Is that even real? And I Google it, and there, of course, is a Juicy Crab product out there. They've got 50 stores around Memphis and Mississippi, Texas, etc. So it looked like a a sit-down seafood product with a bar. Looked like a nice place, but I had never heard that brand before, so I was sort of chuckling. And then I was told a little later that it's not the juicy crab. I know you're disappointed about that, Maureen. It's going to be a national bar and grill product, and don't know specifically who it's going to be, but it'll probably be very much like an O'Charlie's, but new, upgraded, updated. They'll come in and fix the building and reinvest there and bring a modern, up-to-date, if you will, bar and grill concept there. That's what I'm hearing. Don't know specifically who it is, but that's good. So here, somebody's going to reuse and revitalize a building that's been there a long time, and kind of keep.
Do you not know? Do you not know who it is, or can you not?
I don't
say
know.
You don't know.
I don't know who it is. I mean, if I did know who it is, Keith, I'd have to kill you if I told you. So
All right.
I don't know, but
I would die for the Carville community to be able to get information. So
I think it'll, if you know, a national bar and grill concept just sounds to me like something that would work here and will work there. So that's positive feedback.
Well, I mean, and you would think that O'Charlie's is a bar and grill, right? So I mean, so it's something like that. Maybe you have maybe if it's national, it could be an Applebee's or a Chili's or something like that coming in. If it's a national chain, I know there's several of them out there now, but but that's a good location. I think that that particular chain just struggled right there with some staffing and just continued to have some issues. So yeah,
and they had a good long run, like a lot of real estate in town. I mean, at one point it was vibrant and active, but things have a shelf life. And I think O'Charlie's was a great brand there for a long time. I went there often for their steak salad. It was great, but it was time. And like you said, they had some challenges, but it's a new day, and it sounds like a new concept will be there that I hope that the town will embrace for sure.
Didn't Memphis Business Journal article, did it say they had like 5 or 6 different interested applicants for it?
I didn't see that. I didn't pick up on that in the article, but yeah, I mean, people, like we've talked about on the show 1,000 times, people are interested in coming here and doing business here because of what this town has become and what it is becoming. So I'm sure it'll be a positive addition to the restaurant scene in town and down at that end of town. There's a lot going on at Houston Levee and down Poplar and kind of, west. It's nice to see some revitalization kind of in the eastern part of town.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to pick and just say that there's a national chain that I would like to come to that location, I would say Longhorn. I would say Longhorn. I would say, there's one in Houston Levee. It does well. Pretty good quality product, bar and grill type product. I think I see them in other areas. I think they're doing a good job. Their Outback has some struggles, that type of stuff, but a Longhorn, I think, would be a good addition. I think that someone like a Longhorn that has one at Houston Levee already in Carville, it's like grocery stores. You might get one of the same one before you get somebody different. They've got their distribution figured out. If I had my money on something, I would put it towards Longhorn. Just a guess, just throwing it out there. But I would raise an eyebrow towards Longhorn being somebody that comes in that location.
Well, if it is Longhorn, we will. You're like, a soothsayer. We'll you and me will go to Tunica one time. If it is a Longhorn, we'll let you cut the ribbon, Keith, for sure.
There you go. Putting it out there. Trying. I mean, I throw something out there, right? What do you guys think it is? What do you think it is?
Whenever I get confused between Longhorn and Texas Roadhouse. I know there's a Texas Roadhouse somewhere up by Wolf Chase. So I get those confused. So maybe it's one of those. But
Texas Roadhouse is the 22nd largest as far as revenue restaurant in the country. I got my little sheet right here.
I don't think it's a big enough area for Texas Roadhouse. I mean, I think their restaurants are usually substantially bigger that I can tell. So I would, but it's a good guess as any. I just think that the ones I've seen, they're big.
Well, and I look at this list, for example, things that aren't here that are big and national, and Olive Garden, Texas Roadhouse, Buffalo Wild Wings, Applebee's, Outback Steakhouse that you mentioned a second ago.
Yeah.
What else? The Cheesecake Factory. I don't. Red Lobster's on this list. Golden Corral is on the list. So there's a lot of things that it could be. TGI Fridays is on the list.
Yeah, TGI Fridays. Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, I got more lists. I got more. Well, yeah, this is my restaurant file, ladies and gentlemen. It's,
Wow.
it's-
But
it's
didn't the
pretty-
TGI Fridays all turn into something similar to a Red Hook or
Oh yeah, I saw that.
because
you
the
know,
one
you
at
know who I've been chasing down forever
Mugshot?
is huh?
Did you always talk about
Well,
Mugshot?
Mug for sure, but also another one is I'm having a senior moment. The oh shoot, half shell, the half
Half
shell.
shell, yeah.
I think a half shell would crush it in Carterville. I've told them that they got one there at Winchester and Hacks
Hack,
Cross, I think is
yeah.
where they are.
Another
I told them
huge-
with our corporate presence, our growth, our demographics, I told them,
Yeah.
and I think they agree that a half shell will do well here.
And they
Yeah.
do a brunch too, so that a lot of people in Carterville are looking for more brunches. So Half Shell does a brunch, and it's a Half Shell would be a good spot there. But you said national chain, so I was kind of thinking along the
Well, there you go. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And there's arc about Chipotle and how they're growing and what they're doing. Boom, we got one. So
Yeah.
I've been there. They've opened up. They opened up maybe 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago. It was good.
Is that sandwich place open too? I saw the is it not open yet?
They're getting close.
Get
They're
close?
getting close.
Okay.
But what I liked when I drove by, and then when I went there as well, there was people out in the parking lot cleaning and sweeping, and there were cars there, and the drive-through was pretty active. I'm like, okay, good operator, looks like a good store. It's just nice to see them taking care of their property, and also the fact that people were already moving through the restaurant. That's a good thing. So I know they'll do well there, especially when you go work out at the health club and you can come out and get like a burrito to go before you kind of make a
You
right
gotta
hand
have
turn on
protein,
Poplar.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. It's, you
Just
gotta-
don't ask for the chips because I've heard they've run it out. I guess the business must be good, and they've run out of
Yeah.
chips a couple times. So
Right.
I have not frequented there yet.
Well, and I had a conversation with Nick Bolander, who's the franchisee for Stacks Pancake. I had a conversation with him the other day. I ran into him and I said, "How's it going there?" He goes, "Great." I go, "How's the sales volume?" He goes, "It's right where we expected it to be." So it's nice when somebody takes the risk and brings a new product to town, and early on it is unfolding as they had expected it to. Because like we've talked before, these people do due diligence before they make these investments. He
right.
said he's happy, it's going well, and it's right where he thought it would be. So you like hearing that versus
Yeah, no doubt.
we're really struggling, the parking doesn't work. No, he was quite the opposite. He's planning on opening up some others in the market. So it's always good to hear those stories.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. Well, we got like 2 minutes left, John. Is there anything else that's coming up, or you want to talk about from an econ standpoint before I wrap us up?
No, it's just exciting to see the development around town. When you drive around town and see, cement mixers and bulldozers and earth movers and people putting pipe in the ground, the whole water tower district at Schilling is unfolding.
Yeah.
Boyle has been investing there for decades, and that continues. And I was told that the SOB product will soon to open, along with the Rotolo's Italian product and then the crumble cookie. So there's some great things going on there. And then you've got the Towns Place Hotel right next door. And here comes the Water Tower District. So that is really an active spot. And across the street, that assisted living facility is finally getting some brick on the building, which is always a good thing to see. So there's just all around town. I mean, somebody told me the other day, "Can I drive around with you? I want to see what you see." I said, by all means, I would encourage everybody to drive around town to see the strategic development that's going on in our community. It's pretty exciting, especially when a lot of communities aren't thriving like we are. So it's a positive time to be in this market, and that growth is just going to continue. So it's all good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can't drive around without seeing growth for sure. So I mean, there's a lot that's happening, and it's cool to see. But everybody asks for it, everybody wants it, so it's cool to kind of watch it. I think sometimes it just seems like it can't come fast enough, but these things take time, to build and construct. But yeah, so appreciate those updates, guys, and we will be back week after next. If you see anything that we're talking about here, or you want us to talk about, put it in the comments. And we'll try to pick it up. If you've got a guess as to what's coming in the old O'Charlie's buildings, put it in there as well. Let's see who's right. And
We should have a raffle, Keith. We'll give away a Town of Carterville coffee cup
There you go.
Anybody
Yeah,
can,
we'll give away a gift card to the new whatever comes there,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. So put it in the comments. Let us know what you think. And if you see this show and it helps you at all, or there's any information, and we were kind of light this week, we wanted to kind of keep it light. But any questions, you see this, share the show and refer it to people and say, hey, if you really want to know what's going on, reach out to one of these guys, watch this show, make a comment, and we will address those as we can and try to get you the proper information. So appreciate you listening, and we'll be back in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.